Stand by.
What's up, ham bones? And it is a regular guy. We're here with a 1911 review. Today we're going to review the Dan Wesson Specialist. And I'm here to tell you right now, kind of as a spoiler, that this gun is awesome. You can see the Dan Wesson Firearms logo on there. And you can also see that this is their Specialist. Now, we're going to go right off the bat. This gun is actually pretty awesome. We're going to go into some things about 1911s in general and the carryability, quote-unquote, of this gun. Now, as far as carryability and concealability, 1911s are more concealable than a lot of people understand. And a lot of guys rant and rave on it on YouTube and stuff like that, saying that they're too huge and too bulky and all this other stuff. Yes, this is a big gun. Okay, it's got a 5-inch barrel on it and a single stack frame. However, this big-ass gun is real thin. So if you have a body type like mine, like if you're a real skinny guy or if you're just overall a big human being, because I'm real skinny, I got a weight problem, but I'm also 6 foot, you know. So being able to conceal this is not that big of a deal for me. However, its weight becomes a plus and a minus at the same time, because this is a 2 3/4 pound gun loaded and with a light on it. Okay? And the disadvantage to that is that if you carry this thing all day, and if you stand for more than 2 hours at a time like I do, during just your regular out and about portion of your day, this becomes a little bit of a pain because it'll tug on that belt a little bit. But honestly, if you can just deal with it like I have for a while, it's, you know, it's not that big of an issue. Also, your gun lets you know that you're there. Lets you know that it's there. And that sometimes I forget that my Glock 19 is currently on my body. I have to constantly check and feel for the gun, make sure that it's there, make sure that I didn't leave it in my car while I was driving or whatever. This lets you know it's there. Okay, so that is one plus. Another plus to this being a heavier type gun is that it's more shootable, to be honest with you. Loaded and having an all-steel gun, okay, makes the gun easier to shoot because there's less muzzle flip. Its polymer frame 45 cousins will have issues with that because half of the gun, damn near, is made out of polymer, which means that there is not as much resistance on the front end of the gun to hold it down when it fires. Additionally, if you hadn't looked into making your gun wear a light, look into that, because it sounds silly, but having those extra couple of ounces on the front end of your gun actually smooths out the recoil impulse significantly. You see in the shooting video that a little guy like me can actually hold down the gun pretty well. Now, I've shot this a lot and all that other craziness, but the fact remains, it's still an easy gun to shoot, and it's made a little bit easier if you toss a light on it. So that's a plus as far as weight. Okay. Now, something I hate about pretty much all 1911s, and a lot of 45s that are on the market, is that this is a single stack gun. Okay. Talking strictly on just carrying this concealed, you're pretty much limited to a 8 or 7 round magazine. And with a gun like this that comes with a small mag well in it, 8 is probably better, because doing a reload on a 7 round magazine means that with this, means that you probably won't seat that 7 round magazine. It's happened to me a billion times just on getting loaded and making ready for an IDPA match. I can't imagine what would happen during a real life shoot event. Okay. So you're pretty much regulated to an 8-round magazine. Anything more than that will make the magazine jut out from the gun, and you risk printing and all that cool shit. If you're running tactical gear, and if you're the type of guy that carries a 1911, running a 10-round magazine doesn't matter. But the fact remains is that the majority of us will run 8-round magazines, and that's where this thing suffers quite a bit, because having 9 rounds on board the gun at all times is a huge disadvantage as far as other 45s that are on the market that people will carry. Para Ordnance has a P14 45 that is a 1911 that's double stacked, meaning that its magazines lap the rounds on top of each other versus straight on top like this magazine does. Okay, now Para Ordnance will run a P14 45, and that's 14 rounds of 45 on board the gun. Okay, the Smith & Wesson M&P has 15-round magazines available from the factory. The FNP 45 has 15-round magazines that are available from the factory. The HK 45 Tactical runs 12 rounds. Okay. The point is that there are other guns on the market that run more ammunition than this. So regardless to how you look at it, even if this is the cat's meow and the 1911 is your friggin' baby, understanding that you are running short on ammunition all the time, for the most part, is a big deal. Okay? And that affects my decision when I'm deciding on a carry gun. I always bring 1 or 2 backup magazines with me when I'm carrying this, because I refuse to just rely on 9 rounds. That's my personal preference. Okay? But when you look past the firepower, you look towards the reliability of this gun. Dan Wesson builds an awesome 1911 because they know how to hand fit the parts when they build it, and they know how to use the correct materials. Meaning, it's an all-steel platform, and they hand fit all the stuff in here just like the World War I and World War II gunsmiths did when they were building these things to fight people in a war, a real deal war, instead of running about with your steel courage on your freaking hip, waiting on a shoot event, or going to just bring this to the range for a couple days. Okay, and this is where a lot of 1911s fall short. The vast majority of factory-built 1911s are not hand-fitted as far as their internal components correctly, which means if you put a lot of stress on those guns, they'll shit the bed on you. Okay, which is why gun companies that build specifically to GI specs from World War I, World War II era are the guns that will run. And yeah, they rattle and all that other crazy shit, but they work. Okay? It's either those guns or the hand-built, handcrafted guns that succeed. All the other gun types that are assembled by a factory and not hand-fitted properly are usually the ones that break. Okay, I'm not going to go into naming specific 1911 companies right now, but of those, this is a gun company that's got his shit together. Okay, I fired about 6,000 rounds through this gun. Okay, and at one point I decided to do 2 different durability tests. The first durability test was 2,000 rounds without a cleaning. I had 3 malfunctions during the course of that test, and I started getting malfunctions at about 1,700 rounds. But I only got 3 for 2,000 rounds. That's awesome. Okay? And I made sure that I had good magazines, and I was running decent practice ammunition for all this, and I was running Wolf. Okay? Outstanding. Okay, you can make whatever gun lube statement that you want to make. The gun was capable of doing that. Okay? Yes, I ran it wet, but no, I didn't clean it. Okay? The second test that I did was that a lot of pistols that go to tactical courses like Tactical Response, Haley Strategic, and stuff like that, a lot of people that bring handguns that are built from like CZ and other companies like that, like the CZ75, or other gun types like Kel-Tecs and guns like that, will get a gut check because they don't survive tactical classes. I build my testing procedures based on what I would shoot in those days. Meaning, for a tactical pistol class, in one day it will shoot about 750 rounds in a day. 750 rounds was shot out of this in one day, actually within 8 hours, and it kicked ass. There were no malfunctions whatsoever. Okay, so that builds on its durability. Okay. However, there are some things that I don't like about it. For instance, its takedown is 1911-like, in that you still have to do the full procedure to take it apart. Reference my 1911 disassembly video, you know what I'm talking about. That is not simple, especially compared to other takedown procedures for different guns. Okay. And I'm also not a fan of manual safeties or extended widgets on a gun. Okay. However, being a lefty and operating everything on the gun for this side, I actually do like the extended levers and buttons on this gun for this application, because I can do everything with my trigger finger. I have my fun switch, my magazine release, and my slide release all easily accessible with a trigger finger, and it's all intuitive. I tend to not like extended safeties, and that stands firm. I still like a smaller safety so that it's just out of the way while I'm shooting the thing. Okay. But, you know, it is what it is. And although it does have manual safeties and annoying crap like that, it's still fairly simple to use. Okay. Now, a hit on the production quality of this gun is that everything that is bolted on, meaning everything that's got a screw, came loose. I had to drive those back in this case, drive this sight out, wipe that clean, and then reapply this sight. I had to put Loctite on everything. Everything shook loose a little bit as far as things that were bolted to the gun. That annoyed me quite a bit, but as far as the functionality is concerned, I was willing to let that slide. Hopefully they'll have addressed that problem. As far as accessories and stuff go for this gun, this guy is ready to go out of box. And I'm very happy to see that, because it has all the extended widgets and stuff that you would want. It's got a set of Heine straight 8 sights that are great day and night sights on it. Okay. It's got a, not competition, but in my mind, a combat magwell, which I actually approve of on a single stack gun, mainly because those skinny little magazines are kind of hard to get in there under stress. Okay. And it's ready to go out of box. Should you feel the need to add something to this gun, we all know the 1911s have accessories out the wazoo, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. And the most attractive thing about this gun is the price. Okay. $3,400 for a Nighthawk custom. In other words, a hand-built, enhanced 1911 that'll work. Or $2,200 for Dan Wesson, which is pretty much falls into the same guidelines as far as a gun that will work and will defend your life properly, and is very accurate as well. In my mind, there's no real contest as far as that is concerned. When these guys blow up and when their name starts getting out there, the price will go up. But as of right now, they're $2,200 guns. But that's pretty much everything that I have to say about this. This gun is outstanding. So, if you liked the video, go ahead and like, favorite, and subscribe, and I will be around real soon. And remember, guys, a regular guy's firearm is the last step against tyranny. Be easy.
Put it down.